Hi guys, this is part of a series of range tests I'm doing with the Dji Mini 2, Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, Zino 2 Plus and the Dji Mini. You will find the link to the video in my description to see this comparison with the other drone. So in this video, we'll be flying with the Dji Mini 2. I'd talk about the parameter we'll be flying with on this range test in my first flight done with the Zino 2 Plus. So it is advisable you watch that video first before watching this series. So one thing I need to point out is that the DJI Mini is recording in 4K 30 frames per second, whereas my screen recording done on my iPhone is being recording in 60 frames per second. So at times you'll notice that both of these screen might not sync very well. So just take note on that. So as we cruise along this beautiful scenery, you may skip 5 minutes if you don't want to watch all this, and I'll be back with some commentaries. So we have traveled 3.2 kilometers. We are currently at 120-meter high and at about 70 over percent battery life. So you can see that the controller signal strength is at only 2 or 3 bars. And also do take note that on our previous flight range test with comparing with the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, we have only reached 3.8 kilometers with 65% battery left on our last flight with the Dji Mini 2. So now as we are approaching to this distance, we still have this acceptable FPV signal, and also now I think we are starting to see some warning that on the weak signal on the RC. So as we keep pushing forward, we'll see how far we can go with this. We are starting to see lag on the FPV screen at 3.8 kilometers. So we have lost the aircraft. So let's try to go forward a little, see if we can go further. Yeah, I think it is a bit difficult because I think there's interference right over here, especially there's a cell phone tower behind me. So we are not seeing this with the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus at this range.
Battery level is low. The aircraft will
But definitely the Dji Mini 2 struggles. Even though I'm trying to point the antenna at this area, because the antenna is not like the one in the Hubsan controller where you can put it to point towards it. So it's a bit tricky when you try to point the Dji Mini controller towards your craft. So we are still moving forward, 4.2 kilometers. Okay, we lost the signal again. I think we should call it off if we loses the signal again, because our battery life is also not doing so well now at 67%. I believe we can still go further if we can push this drone higher, but we are trying not to break the law. So at 120 meters, I think that's the furthest you can go, and we have to return back because we are also running out of battery soon. So let's initiate return to home, and you can see that we have lost signal to the craft when it is turning back. So we'll wait for a while for the FPV to regain. So it's still not set. The signal is like when we selected return to home, it is not immediately registered to the drone, so it takes a bit time. Okay, so we are returning back. So we have only done like 4.3 kilometers. So you might continue watching this video feed because there might be a bit of still interference when going back. So I'll be right back right before we land. Okay guys, as we are approaching landing, we still have about 20% battery left. So this is like pushing to 4.3 kilometers, and there's no wind. So if there's a wind coming against us, it will not be a very good result. So try not to fly so far with the DJI Mini 2 because it has a limitation on its battery. And if you enjoy watching this video, please give it a like, and do subscribe to my channel if you like my content, and I'll share more about the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro comparison later on in my coming video. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Landing.